Hello and welcome to another edition of Storytelling on Orchard Street. I'm your host, Pete Salamita. I'm in the podcast studios of P&T Knitwear Bookstore, 180 Orchard Street. It's a great bookstore, lots of books to check out and buy if you got the dough. There's a great cafe in the back and they have events. You should check their calendar for what's coming up next. In the studio with me today is Linda Wulkan. Linda is an illustrator, tattoo artist, jewelry maker, and a sculptor. She has a degree in fine arts and art history from Haifa University in Israel, and also a degree in graphic design and illustration from Witzel College in Tel Aviv. She moved back to New York City in 2003 to pursue a career in illustration and fell into tattoo art by chance and has done so ever since. She is working on her 10th book cover and has become the main book cover designer for Pink Trees Press, founded by Linda Kleinbaum. Her important and long-standing relationship with Pink Trees Press's own Philip Giambri produced a novelette, The Amorous Adventures of Blondie and Boho, one of the things we'll be discussing with Linda today. Welcome to the studio, Linda.
Thank you.
So don't be afraid to get a little closer to the mic. Yeah, that's great.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah, so let's just, get into your background. Of course, I met you through Pink Trees Press. I've been to many events that they've done. They're very key people for me, Linda and Philip. They've been very helpful to me in my journey as a poet. So I'm really glad that I get you on the show to talk about all the fabulous things they've done and what you've done as a collaborator with them. So you got a big stack of books we can talk about.
Yeah,
So one of the things you mentioned when you sent me some information about yourself is that your father had to flee the Holocaust and came to this country and wound up serving in World War II.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long story, but his family were lucky enough to have family here in the United States, so they got them visas, and they literally fled as Holocaust broke out.
Wow.
And him and his parents, he was a 13-year-old boy, and his sister was 18, and she was a little more defiant, and she decided to go to Israel and be a founder.
Okay.
And that's a separate story. So he grew up in the Bronx, and he had an anti-Semitic teacher that resented Jews coming in, and he ended up deciding he wanted to become a soldier, and the war was still going on. So he joined the American Army and
At
went
that
back
age?
at the age of, I can't remember if it was 16, and he lied
Right.
about his age,
Right.
or it was. It sounds to me that that's more accurate,
Mhm.
but. He did end up going back to Germany, and because he spoke German, he ended up being in a special unit called the Super Six, and his job was to interrogate Nazi commanders that got captured.
Wow.
I have all his material, like
Right.
confidential documents from 1948.
Holy cow.
I've been still trying on and off to find them a proper home.
Right.
But it's. I have a photo of him standing on a Nazi
Holy
airplane.
wow, I would love to see all this.
It's pretty wild that
Right.
he had that history, and he never really ever talked about it.
I was going to ask you how much you know about it because a lot of people come back from war, men and women, but especially the men in World War II did not talk too much about what the...
He never talked about it to us, but when I was in design school, we had to design a biographical website, and I decided to do one on my father, and then I started asking him a lot of questions, and he started showing me a few things, and I have this note he has of all the countries he had to travel through to do his job, and then in big letters it said "and home."
Uh-huh.
So that I have all of that stuff, but he never got into any particulars about the things that happened
Right.
and what he saw.
But did he talk about what it was like to have been chased out of Germany and then wound up fighting against them?
No, for years he was very anti-Germany. He didn't ever want us to have anything that was German and go there or anything. But we went on a trip. He was born in Hanover. His parents are Polish, and I think 2 or 3 of his uncles died in the Holocaust.
You know, I got to say, though, I hope you don't mind me saying this. You look way too young to have a father in World War II, because I think I'm a lot older than you, no?
So, okay, it is a little tricky because, first of all, I am 60 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm not that much older
I
than
just
you.
had a birthday.
All right.
So
I
look
had no
younger
idea.
than I
Well, you
am.
look great for 60.
Thank you. But secondly, my mother was 16. My mother is his second marriage, and she was 16 years younger than him.
Okay.
So there's a
And
bit
she's
of
from,
a.
she grew up in London?
She grew up in Newcastle.
Oh, Newcastle.
They met
Uh-huh.
on a business trip. It's
Oh.
also a very interesting story of how.
I feel like you need to get with somebody and write a book about all this.
Well, I feel like I also know.
You know some authors.
Sorry, yeah, There's a lot of truths and semi-truths and what's in between, because my mother has certain versions of it, and some of it doesn't necessarily line up. And
I can't
you
imagine,
know,
are there either of them alive? Because they'd be pretty old if they were.
my father passed away in 2016. He was
Okay.
93 years old. He
Right.
died on his birthday.
Wow.
And in Hebrew, there's a saying of like, if that means that you've accomplished everything that you're
Right.
meant to do in this life. And my mother is the oldest woman in her family, and she's 88.
Oh, okay. I was going to guess around
So
90. Oh.
She was 24, I think, when she got married, and 26 when she had my brother,
I see.
I believe.
So you have a sibling?
I do have a half sibling from my father's previous marriage and a sibling from my parents.
Does your mother still live in?
She lives in Israel.
Oh, Israel.
It's,
Okay.
That's another long story
All
of
right.
why she's so. Yeah, and our politics do not align. But family.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, well, that's kind of common these days, I think.
I mean, I think I was the one that fled the coup and the devout liberal and all the things that we don't talk about because it ends up being a screaming match. So,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
But do you ever get a chance to go to Israel and visit her?
I go once a year because she is older,
Mhm.
and we don't actually really get along. We're not.
Right.
We have a very tumultuous. I don't know. It's
Well, if you go once a year, that's not too. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty reasonable, I think.
We talk once a week, and that's all we
Oh,
have in
well,
us.
that's a pretty good for a
It's
relationship
more-
that's a little strained.
It's more to check up on.
Yeah.
Are you able to walk down the stairs?
Right.
Are you?
Well, that's great.
Are you okay?
So
Are
it's
you good with
contentious, but it's not.
money?
It's not hateful.
It's family.
It's mixed. Yeah. So you grew up? You grew up in Queens?
I was born in Manhattan,
Okay, Manhattan.
and
All
I
right.
grew up in Westchester County.
Oh,
And
The
at
suburbs.
the age of 9, because of this aunt that we had in Israel, every summer we'd go to Israel,
Mhm.
and we had an apartment there,
okay.
right across from her house.
Wow.
And it was very strange for 2 very, very American kids to be
Mhm.
there for months, not speaking the language. And we had cousins that lived in that back then it was a village, and then it became a town. And one day when I was 9, my mother said, whatever you want, don't leave it here because we're not coming back.
Wow.
My parents were kind of old school.
Uh-huh.
And I was a little defiant and believe her.
Right.
So I left something behind only to find out that we're not going
Oh.
back, and we just moved
Oh no.
to Israel, which was a very hard assimilation for me in
I
particular.
bet. Yeah.
And I think
And wait, how old were you at this
I
point?
was 9.
Oh, you said 9. That's right.
I think in the back of my mind, I always knew that I would come back to New York.
Right.
So, and eventually I
But you
did.
stayed to go to college. You went to 2 colleges.
I went to, I have 9 academic years.
You didn't want to leave college.
Not the most practical education, but
Right.
I guess the one I was, I
But
feel
you're
like
doing
is
your
a
art. You got all
calling.
kinds of
Yeah.
things on the table here that you do.
It's a calling.
Right,
If you could do
yeah.
something else, I say do something more, else. It's not an easy life, but
No, it's hard to be any
rewarding.
kind of artist
Yeah.
and make a living out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging for
Yeah.
sure. But I think in New York, I had many more opportunities, and I think that's the major reason why I left, because in Israel, in a country that's so riddled with war all the time, being an artist is almost like an act of vanity. You say, what do you do for a living? I'm an artist, so what do you do for a living?
Right. Yeah.
And if you're not teaching,
right,
so it just got more and more challenging, and I grew tired of it, and I always wanted to come back, and
right.
the opportunity came. And
So after you graduated a couple of the colleges that you graduated, were you doing work in Israel as an artist? Or
So after Haifa University, I exhibited. I actually majored in sculpture.
Wow.
And I was doing conceptual installations, like large-scale things.
Wow.
Not very practical in terms of finance, but
do any of them still exist?
No, they're meant to be documented or
right.
bought by a museum or something like that. Right. But I exhibited for 7 years. And I had 2 solo shows there also, which one was in the art house in Jerusalem, Artist House, and one was in it was kind of a project through another college. That was very cool. It was a gallery in Tel Aviv. Actually, it wasn't a solo. It was four people or 5 artists. And I did a lot of work, and it just felt like it was a road to nowhere, and I just stopped for a long time. And I went back to school to study illustration and graphic design in the attempt to be more practical.
Right.
I went to cinema school for a year, and I realized I'm not going to be able to get the jobs I want, and I quit.
Right.
Went back to school. Industry's very hard there, so the last job I had there working on a architectural magazine was a very bad environment.
In what way?
In the sexual harassment way, in a big way, and I just was at my wit's end. Right. And I had a friend who always wanted to come here, and he's like, "Let's go." And I was like, "You want to go? Let's go."
Right.
And
you moved.
We moved back to New York.
Where'd you move to?
We ended up in Borough Park.
Oh, okay.
For a couple of years.
You wanted a little taste of it.
It was. We actually didn't live in the very religious area there. We lived in a full Spanish building, and it was as hard as I knew it would be. It was really, really hard, but I worked really hard at just finding a way, and ended up working as a graphic designer at an Israeli newspaper. Which wasn't doing so well. It was a major newspaper, but it wasn't doing so well, and they ended up laying me off because they were transferring to a weekly instead of a daily. And at that point, I needed a job, and I had a friend who was a tattoo artist.
Oh.
And he said, "Come draw at the shop. We'll pay you for what they call flash sheets." I had no idea. I had 1 tattoo at that point.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I need the money.
Sure.
Let's do it. And he's a sweetheart. They're like my chosen family here.
So this is like the early 2000s.
This is 2003.
Right.
Well, this 2004.
Okay.
And I was there all the time. And
where was the shop? Did you say?
It was in downtown Brooklyn, in kind of a sketchy area, kind of where Lowe's is. Like it's not far from Park Slope, but it's not that safe at night. It was definitely a little bit of the hood.
Like Kiwanis area?
No. It was a Union. I don't know how to describe the area. 9th Street and 3rd Ave, maybe? I can't remember.
9th and 3rd
but
would
not,
be. Yeah,
it's just like...
That is kind of Kiwanis. Yeah.
Industrial weirdness.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's like on the way to
now
each place.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Back then it was not...
There's actually a really good sculpture exhibit not too far from there that I want to go see at Powerhouse Arts. It's huge with huge sculptures.
I'm sure it's
so
very
it's a very
different now.
it's a very artist-friendly area now. We have a guest in the studio that's buzzing around our heads.
Yeah, that's okay.
And not a welcomed guest.
Not a welcomed guest.
So if you see us like moving around weirdly, we don't have ticks.
We
have a fly.
Oh, I hope not.
I mean, facial ticks, not those kind of ticks.
I was just thinking Lyme's these things. Oh. Yeah, so...
Sorry. So I don't know if this is jumping around, but how did you wind up meeting Phil Johnbury?
Oh, so
So
yeah.
sorry.
Well, that's how I got into tattooing. They ended up apprenticing me, and I just, after going to my first tattoo convention, I fell in love with it,
Right.
and I just went all in. And I saw the opportunity of art in it, and the liberty it allowed me. And I was there 6 days a week, working really hard. And
Oh, you're making decent money at least.
initially, no, because I was. They pushed me to start a little sooner than I should have. To be fair, they really needed a working artist.
Well, how different is it to create a tattoo and do illustrations for print?
There's like completely apples and oranges.
Right.
One is human skin, a client, a person. So many variables.
Well, okay, so I didn't mean from the physical aspect of it. From the artist's standpoint, it's the same, but you have to learn the physical.
It's an incredibly unique kind of art form,
Right.
and experience goes a very long way in it. Not that with anything, but
sure,
it's like I don't know how to. I could talk about that for hours.
Well, you have to know. You have to know a
unique.
little bit of biology, right? You have to know how the skin is going to react to the
how
ink.
things flow on the body. You have to learn the techniques. You have to learn so many aspects, like technical. Yeah, it's great to be an artist initially, which is, it's funny because back then no one was using the computer for anything, and I knew Photoshop, and they were like, no one does that. That's not okay. And then when artists finally came out and say, let's use Photoshop, and all of a sudden it was okay. And it's a very unique. I don't know that I can compare it to anything really.
Is that sort of almost on the wave of because so I got a tattoo in the 90s, and even at that point, really wasn't that common to get tattoos.
No, I think it was still illegal. From this, I can't remember what year in the 60s until 97 it was illegal in New York.
I'm trying to think what year. It was around that time that I got one. But that's when I remember starting to hear more about it. But back then, it was like sailors and bikers and artists and stuff. It was, but now it's so commonplace.
Well, the industry changed.
So were you? You say you had a tattoo, much. But were you really into tattoo art? You had to learn it. Like you had to look into the history of it.
It was fascinating. I remember going to this tattoo parlor in Tel Aviv, actually, and it was like one of the few ones that opened in the 90s. And I saw this girl drawing for a tattoo, and I was like, that must be an awesome job. I didn't know I was going to be doing that at some point. So yeah, very different, but you can't. It's like paper is also you are working with a client, but I'll say, like Phil says, he describes me as like Linda works like a method actor. She has to feel it.
Right.
So I do read all the books, and I try to find the points that I connect to, and every single book is it's an entirely different person, a different writer. In some ways, they're all talking about the same things, but the tempo, the flair, the vocabulary, it's all very, very different. And so it's always a unique experience to that writer. And it's funny, Linda and Phil say, listen, I'm really struggling with this one. It's like, you always say that, and you always come up with something good. And I'm like, no, but this time I really am. and then something happens.
Right.
It's interesting. It's challenging. It's a little scary sometimes because, this represents someone's, their art.
Sure.
So
you want to get it right. You want to convey what their book is about.
I want to convey what their book is about, and some of them are...
Grab people's attention is important, too.
That, of course, that is a big deal on it, but also I want them to connect to it, but also I want it to connect to the material inside.
Right, and their personality, too.
Yeah, and some poets, most writers tend to be very literary. So what their title is, they want on the cover, and it's like, okay, well, that doesn't serve you well, because that's like showing an image and writing what it is, and that's just a waste of that.
Right.
So I always, if that's the case, and I was convinced them, like, let's do something different that is more representational to the feel of the book or imagery inside the book. and you'll get it. It's more gratifying too, because when it's like, oh, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're in the secret circle of
Right.
what the writing's about.
So I'm just curious, because Philip is a big part of our story together, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you wound up doing book covers for.
Yeah, this is the first one I did for
Right.
him.
So how'd you meet Philip?
So I met Philip at a place
Because,
called
by the way, he has a lot of
tattoos. Well,
and he was a sailor.
Yeah. Well, he was a Marine.
Marine.
It's a big deal. Marine.
He was what do you call him? Submarine.
He's a mariner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it's the same. Same idea. Yeah.
He didn't have many. I think he started getting tattooed later in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow. So when you met him, he didn't have that many
he
tattoos?
He had, I think, one or two,
Oh.
and one was done, or two of them were done by his nephew, who wasn't. He wanted them fixed. And
That's
see. How. I met him at Bar 82, which is on the corner of St. Mark's, and I used to work on St. Mark's and go there. I worked really late hours, and I'd go there just to decompress.
Right.
And it happened to be just a great place for a lot of writers and interesting people to be at.
Right.
So it felt really nice. Wayne used to work there, Wayne Corral. Talking jazz, talking art. It was great. And when I met Phil, I guess he's such a open, friendly guy. And then he asked me I can fix some of his tattoos.
Right.
And I did. And he was like, this is great. And then he said, I have this story I wrote, Mescaline Madness. I don't know the name of the drug.
Right.
But I have this idea in my head, but I can't draw it. I want to get a tattoo of it. It's like, well, send me the story.
Right.
I'll see what I can do. I have this vision. And that's how that started. Then he started, he just went full on getting all the stories that he wrote.
So that's how the amorous adventures of Blondie and Boho started?
No.
Or the other one?
So Confessions of a Repeat Offender.
I see.
After
Right.
all the...
So that came out first.
This came out first.
Right.
And so they've done all his tattoos, and he liked my work.
Did you do any, I don't remember if there's other...
There's no illustrations in it. It's just this.
It's just the cover. Yeah. Hey, let me see it. We can...
I love his expression. It's based on a photo of him.
Whoops, that way. Yeah. It definitely captures him.
Yeah.
He's one of the coolest people I've met on the poetry
he's
poetry community.
He's an awesome human being. A real lover and patron of the arts.
Right. He's just very supportive. Mm-hmm.
I'd say for me, Phil is just...
And a great writer, too. I love his writing.
He's a great storyteller.
Yeah, we have a definite connection in style, I think.
This book I read so quickly.
Right. Hey, so this one's a Good Boy, Bad Boy, A Better Man, Cautionary Tale.
So, we sat and talked about it when I read it, and it wasn't entirely finished. And the first part of the book is like his childhood, and the stories are incredible. And then as he got older, they were like less... I felt like there's less of a connection to them. Like the people he talked about, it's more like telling a sequence of things that happened, but I was like, I don't feel you as much. And then he explained a few things why he felt like, I don't want to say this about, it's like, you're the writer. You have to be that honest about this. This is your memoir.
Right.
And he always, as a kid, just talks about, he wanted to be the hero, the cowboy.
Right.
He's such a cowboy, the guy riding on the horse.
That's so funny because I share that too. I don't know. Maybe he's older than I am, but maybe the movies we saw, like the cowboy movies, and
he had some figures in his life that felt like that.
Right.
The cool guy, the righteous guy, and so I was like, "This is you. You're the cowboy."
Right.
So
he definitely has a cowboy thing. Yeah.
That's what I came up with for this one.
I love that
which
cover,
wasn't hard. Knowing him well, that actually just came to me pretty quickly.
Right.
But this book, this one is a true, if you want to show it, a true labor of love.
Right. That's the one I mentioned, Amorous Adventures of Blondie
This one...
I got to ask you, are they all fictional characters? Are they loosely based on people?
They are not all fictional. In fact, these are all, except for one person... they're all actually based on real people.
Oh, okay. So you know what, Liz? Maybe that's a good time for me. I want to read a few of the some of the pieces from the book.
Yeah.
So maybe so this way people can get a sense of the way the book feels and what it's kind of about. I chose this one recently. You and Philip did a kind of like an anniversary celebration of the book.
Yeah, well,
Is
we had
that-
an opportunity to put out all the original artwork
Right.
on the wall, which we both kind of wanted for
Mhm.
a long time, and
Right.
it just
So it had
was a
all your
perfect storm.
illustrations from the book, and
Yeah,
and then he had people read from
yeah.
from the book, and I'm honored that he asked me to do it, so I picked this one. It's called Smoke and Mirrors. They're not real. They seem to exist for each other only as smoke and mirrors, hard to grasp, hard to hold on to, hard to see clearly, hard to fathom if the other is really there. Blind lovers reach through smoke, grope for substance, for honest, for real, for something to cling to. Truth is smoke, remains elusive, unknown, and slips through fingers. Mirror reflects back a lone image, even as they struggle to be two, to hold tight, not slip away, not let go, not vanish from other. Smoke and mirrors hold no substance, yet they lie together on a bed of dreams, hoping against hope that mirrors can be windows. The fresh air can dissolve smoke, reveal two lovers embracing. For a moment, happiness seems real. For this moment, they are not smoke and mirrors. I love this one. This is just so it's so deep.
Yeah, it's a little
so-
different from a lot of the stories. It's just like
It really is.
It's poetry about love,
Right,
really, about
right. That's
like
I think that's why I chose this one. There's most of it of the book is really storytelling about
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah,
But this is in there. But it's sort of it's really beautiful.
yeah.
But I'm going to read a few others that are more about characters. So you said these are real characters, real people that you guys knew.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who isn't real.
Right. But the main characters are real.
The main, like, I'm Gator Girl.
No way.
I'm Gator Girl.
Holy cow.
So the story about
I
New
wish you told me
Orleans-
before I read before I
It's like-
reread it.
I think it's one of the longer stories anyway.
Right.
It's actually based. So he takes like a seed of truth or a lot of truth, and of course he embellishes on it. But that is based on a trip that we took with another friend of ours to New Orleans,
Oh, okay.
and a particular night,
Right.
which was just a little hilariously
Mhm.
funny. Well, he took bits and pieces of the whole
Right.
trip, so it was about that, and it was a very interesting, fun time for us.
Right.
But I had a mild obsession with gators, gator heads, trying what gator tastes like, and just
Right.
so like I became Gator
Gator
Girl.
Girl.
So the tattoo artist. I opened a
Right.
shop in the East
Okay.
Village.
All right. Yeah.
That is all fictionary,
Now that makes sense.
but
Right.
but that's I'm
Right.
her, and Road Warrior was the other friend. I think she's in there.
But a number of the main characters, died young.
Some of
died
them,
in
Brenda and I can't remember his name now. Embarrassing.
The bartender.
The bartender, yeah,
with
those
the-
are
with
based
this-
on real people.
Right. No, I know you. Now you're testing my memory too. Oh God.
Okay,
We have to find it.
I'm looking at it. I can't see his name in here.
I just found where them talking about your trip. Anyway, so who's Coyote? So why Coyote? Where did that come from? So you talk about being coyotes.
Yeah.
Is that
coyotes, and
actual-
there's a lot of coyotes. Well, this book is really a love story to the East Village.
Right.
And the lifestyle. I mean, he's been living there for over 40 years.
Right.
And it's gone as much as New York, so many evolutions, but such a place of like artists and
Right.
poets and
Musicians. There was always a lot of art.
cinematographers
Yeah.
and writers, and it's just like a place where that just thrives in like late night conversations, drinking, and burning the candle at both ends, working hard just to be able to achieve something that you love. I worked on St. Mark's for 11 years, and I met these people gradually, but
Right.
there was a real sense of community there of just like it is beautiful.
This was a tattoo shop on.
I
Yeah.
worked at a tattoo shop. It was a street shop. It's just like a place where it's open late. People come. It's grinding, but you learn. a lot in a
Right.
place like that, for better or for worse.
When was this?
Nothing good happens after midnight,
Right.
I'll tell you
That's
that.
what. Yeah.
It was between 2nd and 3rd on St. Mark's.
Okay.
It was right across from Sounds and Grassroots.
All right. Yeah.
So we'd go there a lot
Sure.
too.
Right.
Just like you end up knowing the guy that works at the bodega, the guy that works here, and everybody's like the guys that worked at the hot dog place. They'll like, oh, they come in late, like, here's some hot dogs. And it's just like everybody, it becomes a community.
Sure.
And it just feels like home,
Right.
you know? So I think a lot of these stories are places that he remembers, people that he remembers, stories about these people, their lives, what they went through, what it was like living here before my time, you know,
Right.
murals on the walls and stuff.
He really definitely captures the essence of
Of the East Village.
Yeah.
So I felt like this is a beautiful slice storytelling of New York City, you know,
Right.
in a really personal way. So I loved it. But this came about because when he was trying to promote this book, he'd give them to people, and a lot of people say, well, it's nice, but I don't read, which is daunting to me that someone says I don't read. And he came to me and said, maybe we can do like a comic book strip or something like that. And I spent 5 months working what's at the end of the
Right.
book
Uh-huh.
on the addendum. I'm not experienced with comic book drawing.
Sure. Right.
Clearly, I draw too complex for that, actually. And he's not a comic book writer.
Right.
So I was playing Kubrick to this. I was directing.
So you both were really
I
trying to
was
do
like,
something you're not comfortable doing.
I was just doing this work. I was like, this is going to bury me. I'll never finish it.
Right.
And I'll never accomplish anything else. We have to re-strategize.
Right.
And I convinced him that we can do one inspirational art piece for each story,
Mm-hmm.
which at that point we had 10. And then, you know, and it's not as easy as it seems.
No,
it took
of
us
course
over
not.
3 years to make
Yeah.
this.
Sure.
And there were moments when I was ready to give up and moments when he was ready to give up. But we work really, really well together.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was anything that was a misunderstanding, we'd just go for a beer.
Right.
There's nothing we couldn't solve in 5 minutes.
Right.
And no contracts, no nothing.
Right.
You know, so I'm really glad we finished it. And there were so many empty pages in it that I decided to make these little vignettes of just little illustrations of things that are from the East Village.
Right.
Like, so
yeah.
if
Yeah.
you know, you
Oh,
know.
sure.
Like
Definitely.
Cube.
Yeah.
That was like ends. I don't know if you ever heard of Marion Marlowe. She had a shop on. Well, she was on St. Mark's and then on 2nd Avenue. I think she has a shop on 7th Street. She's been there for also like
Right.
a million years, and she does a lot of rockabilly.
Mm-hmm.
She sells like small designers. So that was, you know, people that know or people that can discover. Kenka, which is from Search and Destroy and the Japanese restaurant underneath.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it felt like it was never like Criff Dog.
Right.
You know, it's. I think it's super fun.
But there was Brenda and Bubba.
Bubba.
Yeah.
It was Bubba.
So
Bubba had it rough.
So I'm going to read something else from the book. So this is on Thanksgiving Day, and
Oh, that's a great story.
yeah, and they're trying to find a place to go to drink, and most of the places they usually go to are closed. But what I like this part here because it kind of gives a sense of how people might misunderstand. Like once the East Village became trendy, how then all of a sudden people wanted to latch onto it, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're in the bar, and this is an attractive young lady sashays up and asks in a thick Liverpool accent if he'd mind chatting with her for a bit. This is boho. An attractive young lady sashays up and asks in a thick Liverpool accent if he'd mind chatting up with her for a bit. He's feeling pretty low and didn't even want to talk to his bar buds. He doesn't sense any kind of hitting on him vibe, so he asks, "What's up with you?" She says, "I'm from Ibiza. I freelance for Vogue Europe magazine. doing lifestyle stories and is doing a story on dive bars. In parentheses, what the fuck, is she for real? Tells him his tats are cool, thinks he's been around a lot and might be interesting to interview. He reluctantly agrees, but only if she'll spring for a drink. She does. He orders a double makers instead of his usual cheap shit. She asks a bunch of rude questions, insulting and demeaning questions about him and the type of people who hang out in dive bars. He's insulted and pissed off, so he replies with subtly sarcastic answers that go right over her empty head. He thinks they'll probably satisfy her faux aristocrat Eurotrash readers. It's total bullshit, and she eats it up because it's what she wants to hear. He's done, and she moves on after he hits her up with another double makers. I don't know. There's just something about that excerpt that, the dichotomy of, people that moved into
Yes.
the East Village, not understanding what was there before, and not
Yeah.
understanding.
That's like good old New York saltiness.
Right, right.
He talks about that in another story when these people, like, I'm not sure if it's in, I think it's in this book, but about how, like, you'd have the buses of people coming from Jersey and watching, like, the debauchery. It's almost like, oh, watch the freak show.
Right, right.
And it's like, this is our lives,
Mhm.
and you're trying to either capitalize on it or
Right.
just, like, look at it like
Like
at
you're
the
watching
dancing
TV.
monkey.
Yeah,
So it is offensive, even if they don't realize it's offensive.
Right.
And I think he was speaking to that.
Yeah. But also not understanding the community and the love everybody has for each other, and like judging a book by its cover. So these people might be characters, or they might look a certain way that's outside of the norm, but they're people and they have stories, and
Yeah.
and they they have something to say. They're people that do things.
Yeah, I think that also, like, the Lower East Side was very, like, musically, like, so punk rock, so edgy. People are just, I think there's, like, an attraction to it, but
Right.
also a heavy criticism to it.
Right.
So, it's kind of,
Well, there was a mixed bag for sure. I mean, especially in the 80s, late 70s,
I wasn't
80s.
around, but
Yeah,
I heard
right.
a lot of stories.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there were blocks that were, mostly burned down buildings, or, abandoned
yeah,
buildings,
yeah.
a lot of drugs and
I
crime.
think even the 90s,
Yeah.
I heard that past Avenue A, or
Right.
it was,
Sure.
like,
You wouldn't
really-
go
that's where you
past
go
it.
get
Right. You wouldn't go
heroin
down
or-
an alphabet.
Yeah.
But then there were a lot of people that were just, struggling to, to live. That's where they lived because it was inexpensive. So that could be, you had a very high Hispanic population, and you had, working, lower working class people, and that's why artists moved
Yeah.
there, because it was affordable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think I don't know, there's always, like, this fascination with it, but also, like, stereotyping it
Right.
on the other side, which is, like, there's more to it than just that.
Right.
As you
Well,
said,
even
it's
the block
people-
we're on, I mean, Orchard Street, I mean, it's changed
Yeah,
so
I mean,
much.
I just
Right
left-
across the street is a pizzeria that's considered the best in the country.
Is that?
Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
which
I'm not.
one?
It barely looks like a pizzeria. You barely know it's
remember it.
there. I forgot the name of it, but it's 5 years in a row. It's one. It's the top.
I have to check
Yeah.
that out.
But the point I'm making is,
That's a big deal.
you can't.
when you
I
talk
can't
about
even afford to
pizza
go
in
to
New York
these
City.
restaurants anymore.
Oh,
But when I
yeah.
was, young, and I used to go out, and I was in bands, or I'd go out and listen to music, you could, you'd go to down here because you could afford to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, I lived in the Lower East Side for 11 years.
Right.
From, granted, 2013 until 2 years ago. And I just had to leave because post-COVID, things changed so aggressively around here. And I don't recognize it. I don't love this version of it.
Right.
I feel like the colleges, the universities.
Well,
are
that just
completely
NYU
taking
just
over.
took over the East Village.
I mean, all of the lower Manhattan, and it's just, I'm not.
Well, I'm sure a lot of what you like about like Philip's stories of back in the day, a lot of those people are gone because they can't
are
afford to,
gone.
or they
Yeah.
passed away, or
I
they
mean-
moved somewhere else because they can't afford to live here anymore.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to have a different
He's-
feel.
Yeah, he's He also lives on this block where it's on St. Mark's is relatively quieter,
Right.
but I don't think he's ever gonna leave because that's his place.
Yeah, he feels that
But
it's still home to him.
yeah,
Yeah.
which it's so different here now. I don't know. I mean, as I said, New York is ever changing. I just some versions are better than others.
So I want to read one more from the book because I know how important it is for you to talk about his book, and we both really admire and respect Philip. So
Yes.
we're going to give him his due, and then I want to go one by one over the other Pink Trees Press books that you brought, and you can maybe talk about the cover that you
Yeah.
designed. How's that sound?
Great.
Okay. And then I have one poem I wrote. I always like to read one of my poems,
Okay.
and I picked one that I could see Philip reading. Like it sounds
cool.
like it could be one of his. Boho and Blondie are on Rockaway Beach, right? And she went for a swim, and he's drinking chilled vodka and admiring her, and then it goes from there. His mind drifts back to superstorm, sandy days in the East Village before the real estate sharks came in. He just finished a show in the back room at Bar 82 when the lights went out. They all moved to the front bar where Brenda, the bartender, was lighting candles. No one left because it felt like fun campout was happening. Over the next week, without power, the East Village showed its true colors. Most restaurants serve free food by candlelight rather than have it spoil and be wasted. The bodega on 9th Street handed out flashlights for shoppers to use while purchasing necessities and gave away more perishable items for free. The village market and the hardware store on First Avenue and 7th set up portable generators on the sidewalk so neighbors could charge their phones. Most of the local bars remained open, and neighbors gathered to drink and party, swapping stories of bathing and making love in the dark. A party atmosphere existed for the whole week with very few whiners or complainers. Everyone seemed interested in helping others. It was a wondrous moment in the midst of a disaster. So, I
That
picked...
was a wild time.
Yeah.
That was what was happening.
Yeah.
People were literally helping each other. Friends were always like, come up, whatever you could do for someone. My partner was taking people on his Vespa back and forth over the bridge if he could. Yeah, and everybody was trying to help everybody else.
Yeah, I chose that one because I feel like that kind of might be, the beginning of the change, maybe for the not for the better of that neighborhood. So it's kind of captured the community that you and Philip tried to capture in the book.
Yeah.
And but that might have been when it started changing, like the neighborhood and some of that where that something like that could happen. I don't know if that would happen now. Maybe it still would,
Yes.
where they would just give food away and people would hang out and help each other and share drinks, and you know what I'm saying?
I hope you don't have to find out.
No, right, but I'm not in that way. I wouldn't want
Yeah.
another because that was
Yeah.
that was a
I
superstorm.
don't know. That's a valid question. I think honestly, COVID kind of flipped the switch for people in how they treat other people.
Well, I think there were a lot of events. There are three big events that really had to have a big impact on New York City. One was 9/11, and then Superstorm Sandy, and then COVID. So those are three really big events in a span of 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, I felt like, and most of them, it caused people to come together. But I think post that, and I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing. It's like the sense of like, it can all end tomorrow. Created more of a self-absorbed, it's about me and what I can, a little less community-friendly.
Well, that's true,
attitude.
and I'm sure that has something to do with it. But I think, generally speaking, I think people have become more isolated, partially because of COVID and also the lifestyle. I mean, the smartphones and people are
social media.
Yeah, so people are more within themselves than they would have been, like again in this book, right? So let's check out some of the other books. We mentioned A Better Man. I showed that one, right? And that's again kind of like a autobiography of Philip.
That's yeah, I'd call it a memoir.
A memoir,
guess.
yes.
It's
Right.
a great book. I
Yeah,
really love
I
this
love that book too.
But again, maybe I'm biased. I think he's a great storyteller.
Yeah, me
and
too.
he's just
I love
got
it when
the
he
right-
reads them too. I mean, it's a different
He
thing.
can get very serious, but he can also be sarcastic.
Well, he has a
and
lot of stories to
funny,
tell. Yeah.
and there's something very humanly endearing about them.
Right.
And it's also like his description of it is him growing up in like a certain time is like you can see it in
Right.
I imagine it
Sure.
the way it was. So I think that's a talent.
Right.
I'm trying to remember the sequence of all of these, but I think the first book cover I did for someone that wasn't Phil was Pauline Finlay,
Oh, wow.
and she's amazing.
Let me lift it up because I love this cover. This
Yeah.
is maybe one of my
I
favorites.
mean, this is based on a photo of her. Unlike some writers, she's an artist too. She's very visual.
Very theatrical.
Yes.
She's like her poems. When she reads the poems, they're like one woman plays.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, she has a lot of. She self-produced some of her own videos where her father did props and
She's
her,
super
like the whole
talented,
family,
too.
like
Yeah, very
one of the sisters
artistic.
did the makeup, and they're really unbelievable films. So I would suggest the listeners or viewers, however you want to say it, look up Pauline Finlay. I think she's got at least 3, like highly produced short films.
I think this cover is based on a photograph from one of those.
Right.
As the ringleader,
Yeah.
the circus leader, as she said. But we had, I don't know, I understood it very
Very
quickly.
powerful.
Yeah, so I do love this one. And she's when she's on stage, she just commands
Unbelievable.
attention.
She really does. Like I said, it's like seeing an actress.
Yes,
yeah.
very theatrical.
Right.
Not sure what the sequence is. I think afterwards came naming a hurricane.
By the way, one thing I wanted to mention, because and back to Phillips, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
But when he was in the hospital quarantine
Yeah,
for the polio.
It's
Oh,
very
my-
intense story. Like
that-
the loneliness
right.
of this child.
I forgot how old he was, but he was just
His
a kid.
father also almost died from it as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Yeah, the stories are very intense.
But that particular that blew me away. Yes.
There's also like the background of history of things that happened
Right.
during that
Yeah.
time. It's
There's
just
definitely
what
yeah.
things, it's hard to imagine. I
Right.
mean, it could probably be a movie.
Yep.
So this is Madeline's naming a hurricane, which
With Madeline Artenberg.
Artenberg,
Yeah.
yes.
I love the Pink Trees Press people. She's another one of my favorites. She's a great poet.
She's a really
Took her a
good
long
poet.
time to put this together. She said she worked on these poems for a long period of time.
There were some labor pains on coming up with
Yeah.
the cover.
I don't have the actual episode numbers, but if you guys want to know more about, I think everybody that we're talking about
Did you
here has
interview
been on the
all of them?
podcast.
Okay.
Linda's been on it.
Yeah.
She was one of the early ones. Linda and Philip were one of the earlier ones. Madeline and
Has Pauline been on?
Pauline. We had a problem with the video in hers, so it's
Oh.
just audio.
Jane LaCroix.
Jane LaCroix. Anyway, so
Yeah.
they're all. I don't have the episode numbers handy. And the next one this is a recent one. This
This
came
is a
out.
recent one. Jennifer Janu.
Like half a year ago or something like that. Recent this year.
Phil's,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't exactly.
So it's Jennifer Janu, Night of the Manhattans. Jennifer also does a great poetry reading every Monday at Shades of Green. Monday nights at what is it, six or six?
Yeah, she does.
So she does a great poetry. She's a great poet, and she does fiction as well. So that's Night of the Manhattans.
Yeah, I love this. This was an interesting one to work on as well.
And this is Jane
was
LaCroix.
Jane.
Jane is similar to, in my mind, to Pauline, not in what they write about, but they're both, how she really
Yeah, she's.
commands the
I don't know how
stage.
she does it all. She's just so prolific.
She also is she's in a band.
I know she
and,
does so many things.
she does the poetry, the
burlesque poetry, or I forget what she calls it.
Right.
But, yeah,
so
she
if you
does
see
so many
anything that
events.
she's involved with, you have to go check it out. All these people are so talented.
And Linda Kleinbub.
We saved I shouldn't say the best for last because these are all terrific people, but Linda Kleinbub is the founder of Pink Trees Press. Never met anybody like she's just so like when she gets involved with something.
She's
it's going to be
tenacious.
it's going to be a great event. She thinks of everything.
She's a force in nature. She really pushes hard for.
She's somebody that found poetry kind of later in life, not as late as I did because I did it in my 50s. But once she did, she really threw herself into it. She went and studied it.
Well, I think when she met Phil and she found all these. It's almost like she found her own voice
Right.
to where she could express it, and her writing, and she's always like going on retreats to write. She's always now she's teaching. She's always learning, and she's always finding a new event to sell the books, push the books forward. I mean, she works so hard.
She does. Her and Philip and Madeline Artenberg all are involved or run a great read-in in the community garden on 6th and B.
Yeah.
So it's free. It's in the garden. It's usually on a Sunday. Let me see when the next one is.
Is that the Fahrenheit one?
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
There's one there's August 30th. I don't think there's one in July.
She sends me updates.
Yeah,
but
because they're doing.
unfortunately
Also, I could
almost
give them a
never-
plug. They're doing the Pink Trees Press is doing the New York City Poetry Festival on Sunday, July 19th. It's 18th and 19th. It's a 2-day poetry festival. Unfortunately, theirs is, I think, exactly the same time on Sunday as the Storytelling on Orchard Street stage. So anyway, but July, what did I just say? I don't know if there is one in July, but there's one in August on the 30th, and then in September on a Saturday on the 26th. So a little plug to the Fahrenheit open mic.
Yeah, you can also look them up directly and probably find
Right.
out. I think on their website you must have
So
updates.
we kind of went through this really fast. We still have some time left, but I just want to get this one of my poems in, partly because I feel like it's something. We're talking a lot about Philip. This is almost like this.
It's the Philip show.
Well, for good reason, but
Yes.
I hope we feel like we're capturing you and your art well enough.
Well, I know this is a little different than what you normally do because
Yes.
I'm not a writer.
Right.
What am I?
Well, you tell stories through your
Visual.
art, don't you?
Yes.
You tell stories. I mean, you're telling stories. You're connected to all these storytellers, these writers. So, anyway, this one's called Saltine Crackers. No one knew why he liked the seedy part of town so much. He'd go to the corner bar that's been there since '59 and hasn't changed a lick since Kennedy got shot. There was dust and regret in places that had been forgotten. He'd sit at the end of the bar that was worn out from time and dreams that got shattered, slugging down drink after drink until he'd finally get kicked out. He'd stumble around town, settling down in an alleyway, and crash on the garbage-strewn ground for the night, until a garbage truck picking up dumpsters down the block startled him enough to get up and get on with the day. The day would drag like nails on a chalkboard. His mouth would get dry as if he ate a box of saltine crackers, and the loading dock end of the day bell couldn't come soon enough. The dark of the night would hide the wrinkles in his tattered jacket, and the loudness of the bar and the clinking of glasses would quiet his restless mind. And faith would be restored by house whiskey chased by a bud with the camaraderie of the dreamless working class. So that one's for you, Philip. So what about your art that we haven't discussed that you want people to know?
Well,
Sculpture. You got sculptures.
yeah,
you
I
do
mean,
jewelry.
I didn't bring any jewelry.
Do you have a
well, it was
website where
lot.
people can see what you do?
I'm working on that.
Okay.
That's another thing I'm working on. I do have my social media for all of those things, which is Linda Wulkan Arts, just one word.
Okay. Instagram.
Instagram.
Right.
I mean, there's TikTok as well, but
Right.
I don't know how many people go on that.
Right.
I just do it everywhere
What do you do
I
on
can.
TikTok?
It's the same.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have like one account for, as an artist.
Right.
Unfortunately, this is the way we have to spread the word aside from word of mouth.
Sure.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you do. So I just create like reels and stuff. I post it. I start on TikTok and just
Right.
spill it over. So I have one for tattoos, which is LW Tattoos.
Okay.
And for my art, it's Linda Wulkan Arts. I do separate those.
So if somebody wants to get a tattoo by you, how would they get about doing that?
Well, I
How
work
would
at
they-
a shop called Eight of Swords.
Uh-huh.
Eight of Swords Tattoos in Williamsburg
Okay.
on Grand Street.
All right.
Welcome to, we do have a website.
Okay.
At Eight of Swords Tattoos.
And they can ask for you directly on the
They can
website?
ask for me directly.
There we go.
They
Come
can
on,
find me
folks. Get a
directly.
tattoo.
They can find me directly. They can DM me on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always see that immediately. But through the website, they can either fill out a form or have a consultation,
Okay.
call the shop.
Right.
It's not hard to find us on
Sure.
Google.
And you have some sculptures over there.
Yeah, I mean, these are ones that I did for myself.
Yeah, sure.
This guy
Let's lift them up for the
like,
camera.
Oh yeah, let me. So this lady, well, I
Do you
like
sell
to,
these?
I do sell them,
Uh-huh.
and I do commission work too.
Right,
I did
okay.
a Frankenstein sculpture for someone just
Wow.
recently.
How big was it?
About this size.
Okay,
Maybe
right.
a little bit
Mm-hmm.
heftier because he's Frankenstein.
Right.
This one I created I just made a chair, like a miniature chair, and then I figured who would be sitting in it, and
Right.
then I decided it's going to be a centipede lady
Ah, cool.
drinking tea and having a slice of cake.
Centipede lady could be a good tattoo also.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely a lot of imagery for that. But I do mix polymer clay. It's just mixed media.
Right.
I've been doing some felting work, which is wool.
Okay.
And needling wool, which I like to combine the two.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. It's a little challenging. And this one was initially for an art show about subversion, which I actually really, well, this guy kind of fell.
The
Struggle-
antenna fell off.
Well,
but we get the
this
picture.
guy, yeah, but you turn the TV on.
Oh,
it's a little spooky.
it's got a screen. The screen lights up.
Yeah,
That's
right.
cool.
The screen is on
Oh,
now.
all right.
Just kind of with a flair, like
TV head.
1950s flair of believe everything you see on TV.
Right.
So right now I'm working on a few pieces for on the theme of subversion
Mm-hmm.
with this kind of
Right.
style in mind. What it's gonna be for, I'm not sure. There's usually an art show. I always have my artwork on display at the shop as well.
Okay. Cool.
And jewelry there.
Right. And what does your jewelry look like? Like what's
So a lot of it is, I definitely don't have anything on me.
Right.
A lot of it is tattoo themed inspired,
I
like
see.
very traditional.
Uh-huh.
So like pushing the tattoo art into different mediums, kind of pushing it forward. And other things are just whatever inspires me, like fun food stuff.
Okay. Right.
Like I did. I have a set of earrings from Pizza Rat. Remember Pizza
Oh
Rat?
yeah, I have a pizza.
So-
Yeah. So I have a Staten
Stuff
Island.
like that.
I have a Staten Island Pizza Rat T-shirt. Staten Island Yankees, because they had a
That's cool.
they're no longer the Staten Island Yankees anymore, but they had a fan thing where fans can make a suggestion for a T-shirt that they would produce.
Yeah.
And the one that won the most votes was the Pizza Rat. There was a Pizza Rat T-shirt, baseball T-shirt.
I do things that are I try to do things that are very.
So you have a rat and holding
so
a
there's
pizza.
I wish I could. I could
yeah.
find it somewhere, but
Yeah.
it's like two slices of pizza, and on one side there's a rat
That's
holding on
cool.
to it.
I'd love to
'cause,
see that.
I think they're fun. I actually
Right.
sold out of those.
Right.
I have to.
So
make
they're
some
fairly
more.
large.
They're
Okay.
like
Mostly hanging,
wearable.
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not meant to be massive.
Right.
I have some bagels
Okay.
and lox.
Right.
Challah bread, kind of things that are
Right.
maybe brunch things like
Right.
avocado toast.
Oh, nice.
They're just fun. I never know what people are gonna love.
Right.
I think people like equal parts like the tattoo stuff. which is like pretty much like just very traditional looking elements from a tattoo art on pieces of jewelry, and or the food stuff. And I don't know. I this is kind of a newer thing for me, so I'm trying to do new stuff, dabble into more things.
Right. So out of all the things you do you have a favorite
Thing?
I mean, art and art, like, you know,
Art-wise?
the book covers, the tattoos, the sculptures, the jewelry, or you just like to
They're
be involved with
all-
different things?
Well, I think initially, I think I majored in sculpture because my tendency, I'm a good drafter, and I think very in 3D. So
Mhm.
when I'm not doing well on drawing things, painting, then I resort to sculpture
Oh, okay.
well, I'll try and do this. And then
Right.
some days you spend 8 hours and you make crap. And that's just,
The way it goes, sure.
I mean, my partner, I remember sometimes I'd show him like something I'm doing, and he's like, "Does this look good to you?" And at some point he said, "Every time you're about, like, you only ask me when you think it's not good.
Right.
And if I tell you maybe try and work on this, on that, you're just going to tear it up in an hour."
Oh,
So I was like, and he knows me so well.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
because I can't get past this one thing that's just not good enough.
right.
So it has to be good enough. It has to be something that I can sign off with these. I do more than I do versions and versions of covers.
Right.
Sometimes 3,
Of course.
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes they're sketches, and I just don't even like that.
Right.
And sometimes I do show the author more than one, and sometimes they like the one that I'm not signing off on it.
Right.
It's my art. It's like, this has to be really, really good. So, I'll put my foot down on that. It's like, I'll do something else, but that's not ever going to see the light of day.
Sure.
It's a process. They're all a process. I love doing all of it. I just don't have enough hours in the day
Yeah.
to do it.
Well, there's a lot to do. So people, if you want to buy these books, because they're fantastic books, if you love poetry and you want to get these great, even just for the covers, they're worth purchasing them. So the
Pink
Trees
Press.
Press is the name of the publisher, and
This one was not published with Pink Trees
Right.
Press, by the way.
Yeah.
You can find
Right.
it with Phil Giambri, and it's different. There's a lot of art in it, and for me, this is I'm proud of it.
yeah,
I'm proud of
it's a
this book.
fantastic book. I read
love
it.
some of the
It's
illustrations
a great read.
in it
Yeah.
that were from the attempt to make
Yeah,
a
yeah.
graphic novel.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. I also have. I don't write well, but I do have a few stories that I've written,
Oh.
and I think Phil tried to help me with that a little
Right.
bit. Didn't love his angle on it, and I have a story that I've asked Linda. It's like, when I feel like I'm ready to show it to you, maybe you can help me.
Right.
edit
So there
it.
maybe in the future there'll be a Pink Trees Press Linda Wulkan.
I don't. Well, it's going to be more of a straight up storybook
Right.
with a lot of illustration.
Right,
And so if she wanted
Yeah,
to,
or
it's not poetry.
Any other publisher
Yeah.
who was looking to do a book with
I
Linda
mean, that
Wulkan,
would
a
be- yeah.
fantastic artist.
That's like, I have like stacks and stacks of projects,
Right.
and that's just one of them.
Right. Okay. Well, you
But-
must be a busy person.
Yeah.
And I
would
hate to say this, but we've reached the end. It went so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank
I
you so
enjoyed
much.
talking to you. Any last comments? Well, at the end, you can send me links. How do people for how
Oh yeah.
we can put up on the screen at the end here. So you send me your Instagram
Okay.
handle or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and your
I'd love to.
TikTok. Just send it to me,
Okay.
and my wife puts it as a caption at the end.
Amazing.
Not a caption, credit. I don't,
Great.
I don't know what you call it, but it'll be on the screen as the show is finishing.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
so you've all been listening or watching, whatever, however you've been digesting this. Storytelling on Orchard Street. And my guest, I've been talking with Linda Wulkan, the artist, illustrator, jewelry designer, tattooist or tattooer.
It's like I work in Coney Island.
Yeah.
Sword swallower.
Bearded, no, you're not the bearded lady. I have a poem about that. I'll show you. I'll send it to you. Okay, anyway, thank you all for listening. I've enjoyed this. Again, Storytelling on Orchard Street podcast, and thank you all for checking us out.